All right, friends, welcome back to Keeping Your Real Estate Business on Track. We're kicking off a new series, Brevard By The Block, your quick guide to living, buying, and selling in Brevard County. First stop is going to be Indialantic. So joining us today is Jeff Blackstone. Thanks for coming in today, Jeff.
Thanks for having me.
He's the broker-owner of Blackstone Realty of Brevard, and Jeff's been part of Brevard County since he was 5 years old. He brings nearly 2 decades of experience in real estate, and he's not just a realtor. He's a coach, mentor, and true local expert with a listen-first approach. So you come to us from a coaching background, correct?
Yes.
What's your sport?
So I coached high school baseball for 10 years, 4 as the head coach at Mel High, 3 more as an assistant there, and then I was at Okeechobee High School prior to that, but coached my kids when they were younger. And you know, my true background is actually coming from, I have a master's degree in urban and community planning. Mm-hmm. So I was in real estate development for a while until the housing market crashed, and then ended up making a couple changes, eventually came back to real estate on the sales side.
Yeah, so real estate was always ingrained in you.
It was. Like, there's always been an interest there, you know, for sure. It's something that even when I was coaching, and I taught high school for 3 years, but God bless all the teachers out there, that was not for me. The coaching part is fun, but yeah, real estate was always in the back of my mind because, you know, I have an overall knowledge there that I think kind of in some ways is different than what a lot of realtors come into it with.
Definitely, especially with that planning background side as well. So you get to see kind of the 3,000-foot view of things, not just the boots on the ground.
There's definitely always a big picture approach, like when we're looking at properties and so forth. There's always things running through my mind. Okay, well, where's the sun going to rise from? Like, what are you going to, you know, how are you going to live, work, and play from this location? You know, how's that going to impact your overall quality of life and things like that? So it's pretty cool perspective.
The live, work, and play piece is huge, especially when you're trying to figure out in Brevard County where exactly you want to be. So we were spotlighting Indialantic. So starting with the lifestyle of it, what would you say is the biggest difference between living beachside versus living mainland?
So I think and I'm going to go with what a lot of my buyers and a lot of people that I've known, a lot of people that have, you know, grown up here. Actually, funny story, just driving over here, I saw one of my childhood high school friends riding his bike down the road, so I rolled down the window and yelled at him as I went by. So like, that's the kind of stuff that I feel like things just slow down just a touch over beachside, and that's not just Indialantic, that's Melbourne Beach, Indian Harbor, Satellite, the whole 9 yards. And I feel like we're blessed down this way that, you know, we have a lot of people that are here local. You know, if you go further south, you get into a lot more snowbirds. If you go further north, you get, you know, around Cocoa Beach and so forth, a little more touristy with the cruise ships and everything coming in and out. But I feel like we strike that nice balance between there's enough going on, but it's still kind of a quiet community. And there's a lot of us that have been here for a very, very long time in that whole area. And I think that's one of the biggest things I noticed different from beachside to mainland. It seems like if you're beachside driving around in the middle of the day, whether it's a Tuesday or Saturday or doesn't matter, there's always activity. Like, you always see people out jogging or riding their bikes or, you know, whatever the case may be. And I go into some communities, mainland sometimes, and you know, don't always get that same perspective. And I don't know why that is, but
not the same vibe, if you will.
Yeah, I don't know, I guess.
You had mentioned the outdoors. What are some of your favorite parks and amenities that Indialantic has to offer?
What I love about Indialantic, and especially being between the bridges between, you know, 5th Ave, which is 192, and then the O'Galley Causeway, there are so many restaurants and little mom and pop places. There's a few chains, but not a ton of chains. Yeah. But there's so many restaurants. You've got great convenience to shopping, you know, parks and so forth. I mean, there's like Paradise Beach Park, and then one of my favorite places to go sometimes is just to chill, and I'll sit there and work, is behind Eastminster Church, right on the river. If it's a nice day, just go set up one of the picnic tables. Better than being inside.
Definitely. So a lot of people that are coming to the beachside to have that living and to slow things down, they've got kids. They like to check out some of the schools. I think Hoover is one of the schools that are over there. What are the other schools and how are they rated?
So Indialantic and Melbourne Beach, you've got Indialantic Elementary and Gemini Elementary. Shout out to Gemini. That's where I went when I was a little kid. And then Hoover Junior High School, and then Melbourne High School is the high school, and a lot of people go to West Shore as well because of it's pretty convenient to access. All four of them are A-rated schools, which is what a lot of people come to Beachside or come to whether anywhere in Brevard County. A lot of people get drawn to the communities where the schools are highly rated.
Definitely. What are some of the concerns that people have been mentioning is rising prices and low inventory. So what's the real story on that? Is that something that you're seeing, or would you find that to be a factual statement?
I would say that the prices have cooled just a little bit over the last year for sure. Inventory is definitely up, but it's been fairly stable. The overall, just looking at some numbers between the causeways, which is considered North Indialantic in our MLS, last August, I believe there were 24 closings in August 2024, and then this August 2025, there was only 12.
Wow.
So demand has been down. I don't think that's going to last too much longer. You've seen, obviously the interest rates have just dropped a tick, and then I think there's going to be a lot of pent-up demand. Where people get to the point where staying put doesn't make as much sense as making a move. And, and right now, I don't know that that's been the case because of the combination of insurance and interest rates and high prices and the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, I'm mentioning that, especially when it comes to buying Beachside. What do you wish people knew about financing or flood insurance or condos? On
the seller side, and some people know it, but I think that one of the biggest keys is if you're on the seller side, do everything you can to have your property buttoned up for your 4-point, get all the discounts you can, for the wind mitigation, and then on your 4-point, make sure everything's buttoned up and in good shape, and do as much as you can. If you're renovating and you have cast iron pipes, change them out. It's worth it in the long run. Things like that, because there's a limited number of insurance companies servicing Beachside to begin with. Mm-hmm. And so if there's certain things that if you have anything adverse on your property, then you're really limiting, the insurance company to citizens almost. And by doing so, then you kind of potentially limit your buyer pool as well.
Sure. You had mentioned renovations. If people have listings that are sitting for a while, what kind of recommendations do you give them? Do you tell them to renovate? Do you tell them to make minor adjustments?
It's a case-by-case basis. It would depend on what the renovation would entail. I'm not a huge proponent on telling people to renovate kitchens and bathrooms and that kind of stuff prior to a sale, because in a lot of cases, it's a catch-22, because buyers right now want to move in and have everything done. But the flip side is there's also a percentage of buyers that, if you do the wrong color scheme or you do this or that, then you're going to eliminate the buyer that might be the one that really wanted the house, so.
Yeah.
And that didn't mind doing a renovation. So it's on a case-by-case basis for sure.
Certainly. So what kind of buyers are moving over the causeway these days? Are you seeing a lot of particular industries, or is it more families or single people?
So I'm going to go back to, I've done a lot of open houses Beachside, especially this year, and the buyers coming in looking, are definitely a mix. A lot of families, a lot of people in the health industry, or medicine, a lot of people that are in, in the aerospace industry and defense contractors, stuff like that. Kind of the status quo for Brevard County. But I would definitely say there's a mix between people looking for second homes, people looking for retirement homes, people looking for, homes to raise their family in. Some of it depends on the product. But overall, I would say that there's a lot of diversity that's out there looking, in as far as what's coming through open houses and so forth.
You mentioned depending on the product. What are you seeing Beachside product-wise?
Obviously the condo market has been challenging for the last couple of years after the Surfside incident, but I think that's beginning to stabilize some. The townhouse market, right now, I think there's some really good opportunities for people with townhomes, to purchase townhomes, because I think that market has been a little soft, currently. And then, the single family homes, it's just all going to depend on the community and the the price point, because North Indialantic, you have everything from, riverfront multi-million-dollar homes to, some of the smaller, older 1950s, 60s homes built in a couple little pocket communities that you can still probably get in the, 400 to 500 range, depending on how updated it is.
Yeah. So for agents who don't necessarily specialize in Beachside or Indialantic, what's one piece of advice that you would give them before they try to list a home there or write an offer?
I think on the list side, I probably just gave it, and that would be to, just make sure everything is, anything, even to do a pre-inspection, anything that could come up on a 4-point, or if there's an opportunity to make an improvement, on the wind mitigation. I think those things are so important because insurance is so critical beachside, and not just the ability to get it, but then the prices getting it when you do. So, I think that's the biggest thing. A lot of buyers, I think, coming from other parts of the country are inherently scared of hurricanes. And I would say from that standpoint, I wouldn't be overly scared of being beachside and, from a hurricane standpoint.
Yeah.
For a number of reasons, but it's the overall barrier island's pretty high to start with.
Yeah.
So that's number one.
So I guess I should call you a native, being 5 years old when you moved here. You mentioned hurricanes, and the people that are coming into the area are scared of hurricanes or have this preconceived notion. What advice would you give them when coming into the area if they haven't experienced one before?
The advice I would give them is just take the precautions, and, anything over probably a category 2 or 3, I'd hit the road. But, if it's a category 1 or 2, it's just button up, have your supplies, and you probably ride it out with no problem.
Yeah. Well, I always like to end our podcast with my favorite question.
We're done already?
We're close, but as I said, the most important question, what is your favorite local spot to eat beachside?
Oh, man.
Let's focus specific on Indialantic.
I bounce around, so that's like a loaded question. But if I was going out for a nice meal, one of my favorite places is Islands Fish Grill.
Wonderful.
I like that place. Yeah.
What do you typically order there?
It's what the onion crusted grouper usually. Nice. And they have the best. What do they do? They have the best spinach.
Huh.
I don't know if it's like, well, it's fried or. I don't remember how they cook it now. It's been a minute since I've been in there. I guess I need to go.
Grouper it is. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. And for anyone that this is your first time tuning in, if you found this helpful, like, subscribe, and share with somebody else who might benefit from the podcast. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.